I'm going to show you 4 things that you need to get a compact, portable, and extremely versatile YouTube setup. It's going to help you create beautiful content. Plus, I'm going to show you one bonus item that depends on what you like to film, can go from a nice to have to an absolute critical piece of gear. So whether you're about to start on YouTube or you've already started but you've been using your cell phone and you're looking to up your production value, let's get to it. Now, the first thing most people want to pick is a camera. And don't get me wrong, you can use your cell phone or an action camera, but if you're looking to take that next level, there are 3 different types of cameras that I recommend that you look at. I have much more detailed reviews of all of these cameras, but in this video, I'm just gonna give you a high-level overview of each type. And my goal isn't to sell you on a specific camera, but rather just to explain the differences so that you can make an educated decision. So the first type of camera is a compact camera. This is going to be the smallest and lightest option, and it's also the most convenient. I have the Sony ZV-1, and it's absolutely one of the compact cameras that I recommend most often. And don't let the small size fool you. This camera actually has some extremely impressive features that we mostly see in much more expensive models. This is an all-in-one camera, so it has a 20 megapixel 1-inch CMOS sensor, has a built-in 24-70 equivalent f1.8 to f2.8 lens. We've got a fully articulating touchscreen with touch functionality for autofocus, beautiful 4K at up to 30 frames per second. If you want to do slow motion, you can shoot at 1080p at up to 120 frames per second. You even get log and HLG shooting modes, and these are able to maximize the performance of the image sensor to give you an image with more details in the highlights and the shadows. The ZV-1 also has a clean HDMI out, and it can be powered using a micro USB cable. So it's a fantastic option if you ever wanted to live stream. It also has no recording limit, so you can use it to record long form videos and even events. You're looking at about $700, but remember that you don't need to spend any more money on lenses. Now I want to move on to cameras that have interchangeable lenses, and you can look at Micro Four Thirds, APS-C, and full frame sensor cameras. The first one is the Canon M50 Mark II, and together with the original M50, might be the most popular cameras for YouTube, period. It's got a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, so it's bigger than the sensor on the ZV-1, and it's an extremely easy camera to use. Canon has very simple main and quick menu systems, and we also have a fully articulating full touchscreen. That means that you can use the touchscreen for autofocus, to navigate and make selections from the menus, and to change all your exposure settings. And because we're so used to interacting with our phones and tablets with the touchscreen, that makes for a really good user experience. Although it can shoot in 4K, it does have some pretty substantial limitations like an additional crop and a slower and less reliable autofocus. But if you plan on shooting in 1080p, it's a great option. We're still getting a clean HDMI out so we can use it to live stream, but unlike the options from Sony, it can't be powered via USB. But you do have the option for a coupler instead, and check out that video if you want to see the one that I use for unlimited power. If you want to shoot in 4K and want to stick with Canon, check out the M6 Mark II, and if you want to look at some options from Sony, look at the A61, 64, or 6600. I do have videos about all these cameras as well as comparisons, and I'll link to them in the description. As far as price, we're looking at about $600 for the M50 Mark II for the body alone, or about $700 with the 15 to 45 millimeter kit lens. And I'll get into more lens options in the next section. Now let's talk about full frame sensor cameras. And these are the big boys, and they also tend to be the most expensive. So full frame sensor is larger and definitely has some advantages like the ability to get shallower depth of field or that blurry background effect. It's also better in low light, and this particular camera has in-body image stabilization. I've got the Sony a7 III here, which is a good option, but as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger, and so are most of the lenses. So while there are advantages to full frame sensor cameras, keep in mind the heavier and less portable setup. Now, Sony actually makes an a7C, which is a full frame sensor camera with a similar body style to that of the Sony a6000 cameras. And one of the nice things about Sony is that they use the same lens mount for their APS-C and full frame sensor cameras. And technically they're cinema cameras too, but we're not gonna go there. Speaking of lenses, we're mostly talking about wide angle lenses. So let's talk about focal length. So the ZV-1 has a zoom lens. So you can go from 24 at its widest to 70 at its most zoomed in. And these are full frame equivalent focal lengths. Now, the nice thing about a zoom lens is that you can get wide shots for when you're trying to capture more of the scene or if you're hand holding the camera, and then you can zoom in when you want to bring something closer to the camera. If you're going to use an interchangeable lens camera, then you have a lot more options, but you're also going to end up spending more money. So with the Canon M50 Mark II or any of the Sony APS-C cameras, we have the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and it's an absolutely fantastic option. It's going to give you a similar field of view as the wide end of the ZV-1, and the aperture opens all the way up to f1.4. This lets more light in, which makes it a great option in low light, and it gives us really shallow depth of field, or again, that blurry background effect. I have a video dedicated to Canon M50 wide angle lenses, and it also explains what you should look for in a wide angle lens, so I'll link to that video at the end of this one. Now with Sony full frame cameras, my favorite lens is the Tamron 17-28 f2.8. Looking at what you get for the money, I'm not sure that you can beat this lens. It's wide, it's fast, it's fairly small and light for a full frame lens, and it's really sharp. In general, where people struggle is finding a lens that's wide enough at an affordable price. And this is one of the advantages of using one of my absolute favorite accessories, a small tripod. This is the MantisPod. It's made by PGY-TECH, and it's definitely my favorite portable tripod. Now, some products have features where I might say, that's cool, but I don't know how much I would use it. Well, this tripod has a lot of features, but they're actually features that I use. First, it does something that other small tripods do if you're hand holding the camera, and that's move the camera farther away from you so that you can get a wider angle of view. But it has two advantages over something like the GorillaPod that I used before. So first, it's way more sturdy, and there's no give, so my shots end up being smoother. Second, I can actually extend it and then move the ball head farther away to a second position and get an even wider angle of view. Next, because I'm not super careful, I really appreciate all of the security features that this tripod has. I mean, at the low end, we're looking at $700 with the ZV-1, and at my high end with my Sony a7S III, which I'm using right now so I can't show you, with that lens, I'm looking at over $4,000. So I want to know that my gear is safe. First, the Arca Swiss quick release plate snaps into place, and then you have a dedicated lock so you can't accidentally hit the release. Then, if you want to remove the entire ball head, you have to unscrew this aluminum coupling, and it still won't come up. You have to pull down on this lever, and that releases it. So even if you forget to tighten it after putting it in, it's not gonna fall out. All right, enough with the safety lecture and on to the features. Let's start with stability. And the legs rotate out, and this thing is super well made. So even with bigger setups, I'm not worried about it. With my previous tripod that had those flexible legs, they worked okay in the beginning, but then after a couple of months, they loosened up, and then I really couldn't trust it. Back to the MantisPod, there are different locking positions for the ball head attachment, so you can get it at all different types of angles. And once it clicks into a setting, it's not going anywhere. I also like the height adjustment where I can get the camera lower to the ground and get an even wider base. Now, the ball head itself is really well made. It's smooth and provides a little resistance even when it's completely unlocked, so you can get the camera at just the right angle. Now, once it's locked, you're good to go, and you can actually unlock the pan axis and then rotate it 360 degrees. There's quite a bit of dampening on this axis, so you can use it to get surprisingly smooth pans. Now, another great use for this tripod is to flip it over and get low angle shots. The next feature is super clever, and it solves a very real problem when you're out and about and you're looking for a place to mount your tripod. So if you look under the main leg right here, you'll see there's a little leg that comes out, and it folds out and it lets you hang this entire setup from like a fence or the back of the chair or a ton of other things once you start knowing what to look for. And I think this feature adds a lot of versatility. And one last option is that if you look inside the leg, PGY-TECH actually included a phone mount. So this way you always have one with you. And if you decide that you want to use your phone for a quick shot, you could do that without using the quick release plate, or you can attach it to the quick release plate using the 1/4-20 threaded hole at the bottom. Now, there are two versions of the MantisPod. The standard one, which comes with this head, and then the MantisPod Pro, which comes with the ball head. And I would 100% recommend that you go with the Pro model if you can. So you have a camera, you have a lens, you've got your tripod. Now on to the fourth item, a microphone. And if you want good audio, do not, I repeat, do not use the built-in microphone on your camera. Like the ZV-1 actually has a pretty good directional microphone, and it's designed to pick up sound from in front of the camera. So if you're hand holding it so you're close to the camera and you're in a relatively quiet area, you can get pretty good audio. But as soon as you step back a bit, you'll notice a significant dip in quality. And this is where it's hard to compete with a dedicated microphone. And there are really two options that I want to talk about: shotgun microphone and a lavalier mic. Now, a shotgun microphone is a long and very directional mic, so it's designed to pick up audio from wherever it's pointed. Now, a good affordable option is the Rode Video Micro, which you can mount right onto the cold shoe of the Mantis Pod, plug it into your camera, and point it at yourself. Another feature that I like about this tripod is that the cold shoe can actually rotate. So when you're in front of the camera, you can have the mic pointed at you. But then if you all of a sudden want to turn the camera around and record some B-roll, but you still want to talk, in theory, now the microphone is pointed away from you. But because this cold shoe rotates, you can just flip it over, point the microphone at yourself, and just keep talking. This microphone also has a shock mount built in, which reduces handling noise, and it comes with a dead cat, or this little furry thing, which prevents wind from ruining your audio. You can get this whole setup for $60, and if you want even better audio and more features, you can step up to the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, which is fantastic. Now, I actually have a video comparing the entire lineup of Rode video mics with audio samples from each one. So if you're interested in hearing the difference and seeing whether that's worth the money that it's going to cost, check it out when you're done with this one. Now, the next mic option is a lavalier microphone, which you would connect to the camera and then clip onto yourself. And this gets you excellent audio because the microphone is much closer to the source, or your mouth, and the distance between the mic and the source doesn't change as you move closer and farther away from the camera. It does mean that you have to be tethered to the camera though, which is why I like to use the Rode Wireless Go. It's a wireless setup, obviously, Rode Wireless Go, and it's got a transmitter and a receiver. So the transmitter is going to be clipped onto me, and then the lavalier mic is going to be plugged into it. And then the receiver is going to be either on the camera or on the Mantis Pod, and then attached to the camera. Now, I don't have to worry about how far I am from the camera, and I have the freedom to move around and still always get crisp and clean audio. If you've gotten value from this video so far, give it a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you like so that I can make more of it. And I still see that over 90% of you are new viewers, so hit that subscribe button. All right, now on to the bonus item. And this is something that a lot of people don't think about when they get started, and then they're frustrated when they can't get the footage that they want. Now, if you're gonna be filming outside and you want that buttery bokeh, or again, that blurry background effect, you're going to quickly realize that you're running into a problem. You have too much light. And a variable ND filter, let me get this open, allows you to block the exact amount of light that you need to get a perfect exposure. And at the same time, you can use a wide open aperture to get that beautiful look. By rotating the filter, you can decide just how much light you want to let through. So for example, if you're out and you're filming and you're in the sun, but then a cloud comes and covers the sun, you could just twist it and then let more light in and brighten your image. Now, these come in specific sizes, so make sure that you get one for your largest lenses, and you can actually get step-up rings, and then you attach the step-up ring to the small lens to fit a larger filter. Now, if you have any more questions, I'll put a link at the end of this video to a more detailed explanation of variable ND filters. Remember that I have links in the description to all the products that I talked about. Hopefully this video was helpful. Click on my face to subscribe and then watch one of these videos. You know what I always say? Buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.